I'm going to read you President Abraham Lincoln's first inaugural address. But there's a little preface before we get there. I thought it would be important. It says, November 6th, Election Day, 1860. Abraham Lincoln was elected president. And Lincoln's election as president convinced the people of South Carolina that the North was crazy, abolition crazed, and that the Northerners were going to destroy the Southerners' way of life. South Carolina secedes from the Union and urged other Southern states to follow, and a declaration of clauses included state sovereignty, the rise to power of a sectional party called the Republicans, the election of a president whose opinions and purposes were hostile to their way of life. The Confederate States of America. Okay, on February 4th, 1861, 6 other Southern states seceded along with South Carolina, and they formed a new republic called the Confederate States of America, with the provisional capital in Montgomery, Alabama. April 12, 1861, 4 more states seceded after the Confederates fired on Fort Sumter, bringing to 11 the total number of Confederate states by June. On May 21st, 1861, Richmond, Virginia became the permanent capital of the Confederation. The Confederate flag we know as Okay. The Confederate Constitution was similar to the United States Constitution, but it differed in establishing state sovereignty, protecting slavery in the states and territories, banning protective tariffs, and limiting the president to 1 6-year term. The president of the Confederate, his name was Jefferson Davis. He was of Mississippi, and he was elected president of the Confederacy. He was a West Point graduate, served in the United States as a colonel in the Mexican War. He was a Democratic congressman, Secretary of War under Franklin Pierce, and a Democratic senator, and his vice president was Alexander Stephens. Okay, so in the North, Lincoln's inaugural address was March 4th, 1861, and it says it was a conciliatory but firm. Now, I looked up what the word conciliatory meant, and it means intending to reduce hostility or to pacify, the bullshit going around. So it says Southern secession created a crisis. So when Abraham Lincoln was inaugurated on March 4th, 1861, he presided over only 27 of the 34 states that were formerly in the Union. And as a new president, what would Lincoln do? Declare war or accept the secession and let the Confederacy go in peace? Or something else. So, there's a lot of ... so it's probably cut here, but some of his moments, it says, I have no purpose to interfere, to interfere with the institution of slavery in the states where it exists. I believe I have no lawful right to and ... No state upon its own mere motion can lawfully get out of the Union, ... I now consider that ... the Union is unbroken. So he's a little delusional, I guess, and ... I shall take care ... that the laws of the Union be faithfully executed in all states. In doing this, there needs to be no bloodshed or violence. One section of the country believes that slavery is right and ought to be extended, while the others believe it's wrong and ought not to be extended. This is the only substantial dispute. In your hands, my dissatisfied countrymen, and not in mine, is the momentous issue of civil war. The government will not assail you. You have no conflict without being yourselves the aggressors. You have no oath registered in heaven to destroy the government, while I shall have the most solemn oath to preserve, protect, and defend it. I am loath to close. We are not enemies but friends. We must not be enemies. And then these memorable words. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature.